Hi, mate, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums, and today I am going to do an album review on the latest Richard Dawson album 2020. Yay! So, Richard Dawson is a UK, specifically Northern English folk singer, songwriter, and his album Peasant, released in the year 2017, is easily a 9 out of 10. This album is super duper underrated because it transports you back to the medieval ages, and not even the late medieval ages, not even the middle medieval ages, the early medieval ages in the kingdom of Brinic in northern England, where it's all kingdoms and castles and soldiers and malingerers, dastards and knaves. And also, instead of, praising the medieval ages, Richard Dawson actually gives a lot of amazing, beautiful, deep insight about the medieval ages as well, such as the problem of poverty and people selling children for grains. And tracks like Scientist and Ogre are amazing. Scientist is still probably my favorite Richard Dawson song. The guitar solo in the middle, it just melts your heart, but then you get the very loud, unapologetic, urgent guitars just clashing against your face. And then we have 2020. And just by looking at the album title here, you can already tell that this album, it's going to be modern. We're going to be back in the modern day society, and indeed, we are back. Richard talks a lot about, YouTube and eBay, social media, people online working at Amazon, yada yada. And the lyrics, even though they're not necessarily poetic or deep or artsy or anything, they are very honest, very sincere, and they are actually very well written in that it's very insightful. It's very detailed. It's like Mark Kozlek or Sun Kill Moon rambling on about a particular story where he gives a lot of details about one story, and Richard Dawson does exactly that. And the lyrics are almost a little car seat headdress D. I mean, we have the lyrics, say, on the track Jogging, where at the end of the song he would shamelessly tell people that he's going to run the London Marathon to raise £1,000 for the British Red Cross, even though it seems daunting. And even though this thing isn't really all that related to the theme of the song, I guess it's kind of related, but still, the lyrics, they just ramble on, and they are sometimes very hilarious, sometimes very real and personal, and sometimes very sincere and honest, and I love it. Also, the instrumentations are way more modern, way more electric instrumentations are incorporated, but still you get the raw, organic, violently strummed guitars, and sometimes they are hectic, worrisome, urgent, and sometimes very innocent and very passionate. And throughout the entire album, all tracks are pretty weird, pretty odd and freaky, but also somewhat catchy and entertaining. Thus, this album, I can comfortably say it is my favorite album of the year so far. I like this album even more than Igor and that Otoboke Beaver album and that Wise Blood album and that Little Sims album and that Freddie Gibbs and Mad Lib album. This album is the best one so far. Starting off with Civil Servant, which is an explosive, freaky start to the album with this up and down grunting guitar riff that is very off-kiltered and wild. Dun, 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 dun. It's very mechanic and industrial, and then afterwards we get these very tense, worrisome, sad guitars where Richard Dawson hops in and describes another day doing a job that you despise, and it's about being a civil servant. The chorus is fantastic, it's catchy, it feels righteous and triumphant in a way with its odd falsettos. And the ending is very electric, very distorted and compressed, and in a way very creatively handled. and it's just a stunning album opener in my opinion. The next track is The Queen's Head, and it is more gentle, more soft, with its tender, folky guitars in the beginning. And then afterwards, we even get some whispered hooks that are kind of sad and drained and tiresome, but it actually leads to a really grand chorus where we get these loud, righteous vocals and these grand synths, and they are amazing. This song is essentially about another England town being flooded somewhere nearby Sheffield, and Richard Dawson really talks about the flood around that town in great detail, talking about how this butcher is handing out meat, complaining about the flood in foreigners, and also he talks about this guy at the vape shop ferrying chocolate labs on a kayak. Yeah, lots of insight, amazing lyrics, and great instrumentations. But the amazingness of the album doesn't just end here. We have two tracks that are two singles teasing towards this album, Two Halves and Jogging, and they are both amazing. Two Halves is my favorite on the album because it is super catchy, and this is such a smooth song. It doesn't really break down in the middle, it doesn't quiet down, it's one continuous run. It's super smooth and super catchy, 6 minutes long, and the song is about football, and in a really funny way, Lionel Messi passed the bloody ball, man on, an empty stadium yells, man on. Yeah, Richard Dawson really has a nice range of vocals, and his vocals is great, very sincere, very upfront, and I love it. And the guitars on this track, they are sad, lonesome, and innocent, and very beautifully played as well. Before the ending climax of the track, the song kind of quiets down, but it doesn't leave any empty spaces at all, and it's very nice. In fact, it actually does leave out some empty spaces, but it's still amazing. It's both artsy and catchy at the same time, and the song literally ends off with, "Would you like to pick up some Chinese or some fish, or would you rather have some fish and chips?" You know what? In my opinion, if I'm at Northern England, I would try out some of their curry and chips. Back to the album, we have the track Jogging, which is a song about, Richard Dawson's anxiety issues, and it's also amazing, stunning track indeed. We get these distorted, loud, electric guitar riffs throughout the entire track, and they are really amazing. And it's this weird combination of loud, distorted rock riffs and these, folky guitars during the verses and the very righteous, triumphant, loud chorus. The whole thing is a really smooth blend as well. And also, Richard Dawson really talks about anxiety in a really personal position, talking about being afraid to leave the flat, being afraid to be looked at in the bus, scouring eBay, being the counselor of Saint Cecilia's secondary school, and then going back as a graphic designer. And again, the ending of the track where he talks about how he's gonna run the London Marathon, and I don't know if he already ran the marathon, but if he hasn't, wish him luck. Yeah, I love the chorus of the thing. And then we have the track Heart Emoji, where we get some warm and sweet, but also some skippy and muted guitars, as well as some messy, sporadic synths throughout the whole track. It's about seeing texts in your phone, finding out that your romantic partner might be cheating. And yeah, it's a pretty common topic with a very bloody ending. And some weird keyboards during the verses of during the choruses actually of the track. And even though it's one of the tamer moments on the album, it's still not that bad. It's still kind of decent. And then we have the track Black Triangle, which is 8 minutes long, and it's freaky, it's weird, but I love it. The intro to the track sounds like some sort of warped arena rock song with its pulsating synths. And then afterwards, we get these sad, lonesome, dejected verses, as well as these grimy guitars. And during the chorus, we get this very dry and raw, angular math rock guitars with these odd vocals. A black triangle. This song is actually about how a guy encountered a UFO and had been obsessed by it. So much so that it's hurting his marriage. And it's such a weird topic, but yet it's so well written, and the song is so well composed. It's really well delivered. And then afterwards, we have an even longer track, Fulfilment Center. It's 10 minutes long, and it is the most insightful track about working at an Amazon fulfillment center. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention how zany and climactic and epic is the ending to Black Triangle. Anyway, back to Fulfilment Center. It has these dejected, sad guitars, but during the verses, it gets very angular and very worrisome in a very interesting and prickly way. And the lyrics, they are, of course, about working at a fulfillment center, how much it sucks, how much it drains the life force out of you. You go back home very late at night, and the next day, early in the morning, you start all over again at this very terrible job, and you have to live that life, and it's pretty damn depressing, in my opinion. He also writes very insightfully about how these workers fall asleep in the job, how their job is being timed, how they have to pee in a bottle because they cannot be fast enough to deliver the products. And we also get these wobbly guitars and these clashing, constantly tapping drumsticks throughout the whole track, especially at the end, and they are amazing. Also, my phone is glitching out. What the hell's happening? The next track is Fresher's Ball. The next track is Fresher's Ball, and it is a pretty... What's going on? And it's a pretty decent ballad. However, it's kind of low-key and a little blander than any other tracks on the album. And it's about being lonely, wanting to not be lonely, I guess. And the track is really stripped back, kind of sleepy, a little off-kilter, just a little. But it's very sincere and heartfelt. So it's still not a bad track. Afterwards, we have the penultimate track, which is called No One. And it is a 50-second long little interlude where it's kind of noisy, spacey, and industrial, similar to the interlude of the same name at the same penultimate position at his previous album, Peasant. Except on that interlude, it's 1 minute 20 seconds long. This interlude is 30 seconds short. Anyway, the album ends off with Dead Dog in an Alleyway, and it's a very grim and sad closer to the album, yet climactic. And, by looking at how a dog can't find a home and dying in an alleyway actually reflects on the society and how it just works the crap out of, the citizens and the workers. And Richard Dawson also describes the city as a labyrinth of neon, which is very beautiful. And the chorus is very catchy and righteous, but also very sad. So yeah, great ending to the album. Magnificent ending. This is a magnificent album, brilliant album, insightful and hilarious lyrics, expressive vocals, off-kiltered, hectic, freaky instrumentations, which are very special, odd, and also sometimes very angular, but also the riffs are heartfelt, innocent, passionate. And what can I say? I think this album is better than Peasant. And my favorite track here is Two Halves. My least favorite is Fresher's Ball. I'm giving Richard Dawson's 2020 a 9 out of 10. So, have you listened to 2020 from under 10? How much did you rate it? Like if you like it, if you hate it, subscribe if you want more. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Tomorrow I'll be doing a review on Swans to Be Kind, and very soon, Queens of the Stone Age, like clockwork, and also very soon, battles, la dispute.